Integers and absolute value is our topic for today. Let me get into present mode. Please fill in your learning target. I can identify types of integers, define absolute value, and find absolute value of integers. So we have a lot of vocabulary that we're going to discuss in this lesson. Feel free to pause and write down and rewind if you need something repeated. What are the types of integers? Well, there's actually two types of integers. We have positive integers, which are any integer that is greater than 0. And those are the numbers that you've been working with pretty much since you started school and before, just with your counting. We also have a negative integers, which are any integers that are less than 0. These are going to be the new integer that's introduced to you and the new integer that you work with this year. There's keywords that help us identify positive integers versus negative integers. I just have a short list. There's many more, but these are some you might hear during math class. For positive integers, gain is positive. A profit is positive. Increase is positive. Above is positive. Ascend, which means to go up, is positive. Oh, it looks like I have profit twice. For negative integers, below is negative. Like think about swimming below sea level. Withdrawal, taking money out of your account. Even though you're taking it for you, you're taking it to usually spend. So taking it out, that's a negative action. Descend, loss, decrease, and reduce. How do I read and write integers is our next question. So if I have a loss of 20 yards, for example, in football, that's represented by the integer negative 20. Loss is negative, and 20 is the yards. If I deposit $200 into my bank, putting that money in, it's there for safekeeping. My bank account goes up, so that's a positive action. So that would be plus 200, or you could just write 200. For positive integers, you really don't have to put that plus in front of it, that positive sign. All right, our next definition is absolute value. You talked about this a little bit last year, so hopefully you have an understanding. But here's the definition again, just to refresh your memory. Absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. So we have our number line, and on our number line we have 0 in the middle, and then all the numbers to the right are certain steps away from 0, and all the numbers to the left are certain steps away from 0. If you look at 2, positive 2 is 2 away from 0, but you could go on the left side of 0 and see negative 2. That's also 2 away from 0. So absolute value, we're just talking about the distance it is from 0. How do you find absolute value of an integer? Well, first of all, this is how we write absolute value. You see two lines, vertical, kind of like bars, just like surrounding my head right now, but surrounding a number. Those are your absolute value symbols. And you're going to practice with us reading what that means. Like, how would you say that? And you would say that as the absolute value of 14 is. And what that means, if we go back to the definition, is the distance 14 is from 0 is, well, how far is 14 from 0? It's 14. 14 steps, 14 units away from 0. All right, let's do some more practice. Let me find my, there we go. Okay, so we're going to read it, and then we're going to answer it. So example 1, you would read that as the absolute value of negative 22. So think about how many steps is negative 22 from 0. It's 22. The absolute value of negative 22 is 22. It's 22 steps away from 0. The absolute value of 10, think about it. How far away is 10 from 0? The absolute value of 10 is 10. the absolute value of 12 and 75 hundredths. Well, how far away from 0 is 12 and 75 hundredths? It's 12 and 75 hundredths steps. So the absolute value of 12 and 75 hundredths is 12 and 75 hundredths. Okay, so those are just straight up, here's a number with absolute value signs around it. Tell me the distance they are from 0. Now the next two examples become a math expression with absolute value. And when that happens, you're going to read it to yourself first. So example 4, the absolute value of -8 minus 3. Okay, so what you're going to do first is take the absolute value of -8. How far from 0 is -8? It's 8 steps. And now we're going to subtract 3. So 8 minus 3 is 5. Find that distance from 0 first, and then do whatever the rest of the expression asks. And here's an algebraic example. What's the absolute value of y if y is -3? Okay, we know the value of y, so we're going to substitute it in to our expression. Put -3 in the absolute value, and then ask yourself, how far from 0 is -3? It's 3. So the absolute value of y, if y is -3, is 3.